Our solar system is filled with planets. Sure, some are made of gas, others so hot you'd burn up in seconds. But to have the best chance of hosting human life, and you already know we've picked the wrong one. Welcome to Earth. Yeah, we're living on the wrong planet. Here's why we need to move to Mars. This is our channel. And today we're answering the extraordinary question, why do we want to go to Mars? First off, let's set the stage. Look up. That tiny red light in the night sky, that's not just a planet. It's a question. It's a promise. It's Mars. For thousands of years, humanity has stared at that glowing ember in the sky and wondered, what is it? What's up there? And could we ever go? Today we have the answers to the first two questions, but that third one still feels like an open road. We've mapped it from afar, sent machines to roll across its surface. Now we're planning something no other species on Earth has ever attempted, leaving our home behind and building a new one. On Mars. It sounds insane, doesn't it? To live on a planet with no breathable air, no liquid water on the surface, temperatures that would kill you in minutes, and yet we're serious. Why? Because Earth, as beautiful as it is, has an expiration date. Not soon, maybe. But someday. Researchers estimate we'll use up our supply of easily accessible oil around 2050. After that, natural resources will become harder and harder to extract. And in the not-so-distant future, Earth simply won't be able to support a growing population. Plus, life here is getting crazier. Earthquakes, tsunamis, hurricanes, droughts, floods, pandemics, who knows what else. One asteroid, one global conflict, one solar flare. That's all it takes, and everything we've built could vanish. No one's saying we should abandon Earth, but the idea that we should only live on one planet, that's beginning to feel like a pretty big gamble. And when we look at our solar system, one destination stands out. Not because it's easy, because it might just work. It's Mars. Let's take a hard look at home. Earth is fragile. The climate is changing. Ecosystems are collapsing. There are wars over water, pandemics, economic chaos. We're multiplying, but our resources aren't. Today we're using up 1.75 Earth's worth of energy, water, and materials every year. By 2030, that number will rise to 2.2, and if our population keeps growing, we could need 4 Earths by 2100. You do want to have to be a scientist to see the math here. Earth can't handle the weight. Okay, so where do we go? Jupiter is too gassy. Saturn is too far. Neptune is too cold. Venus was once Earth's twin. Now it's a hellish sauna with a toxic atmosphere. But Mars is different. Yes, it's cold, dry, barely alive. And yet it's the most promising place we've ever found. A day on Mars is 24.6 hours, almost like Earth. It has seasons. It has polar ice caps. It has mountains taller than Everest, canyons deeper than anything we've seen. Its gravity is low, about 38% of Earth's, enough to walk, not float. It doesn't have much of an atmosphere, mostly carbon dioxide. But with the right tools, we can turn that CO2 into oxygen and rocket fuel. And it's far, but not that far. With current tech, you can get there in 6 to 9 months. That's not science fiction anymore. It's a timeline. We've already been there in a way. The Viking landers. Spirit and opportunity, curiosity, perseverance, tiny robotic explorers that traveled millions of miles to help us? Answer. One big question. Can humans live here? And the answer, slowly but surely, is starting to look like yes. Well, sort of. In 2021, NASA's Perseverance rover touched down on Mars. Its mission? Search for signs of ancient life. Mission accomplished. Scientists announced in 2022 that Mars once had rivers. Maybe lakes, possibly oceans. If we find signs of ancient life, even a fossilized microbe, it changes everything. We would no longer be alone in the universe. It would rewrite science, rewrite religion, rewrite humanity. And even if there's no life there now, we might bring it with us. Because the truth is, we're not just exploring Mars. We're planting a flag for life itself on a new world. So how would we survive? We'd live in pressurized habitats at first brought from Earth, later built using Martian dust and 3D printers. We'd grow plants in controlled greenhouses using hydroponics and artificial light. We'd wear suits outside, of course. But inside, we'd build homes, labs, schools, cities. We'd melt ice for water, crack CO2 for oxygen, use solar power for energy. Build life piece by piece. There's a reason we're obsessed with Mars. Every great story needs a great villain. And let's face it, Mars is ours. Astronaut Buzz Aldrin called it a dead planet. Dead. You'd think that would discourage us. But for those who love space, it's exactly the opposite. We like it that way. Desolate, hostile, untamed. It's the final frontier. But Buzz also said, we can make Mars welcoming for people to live and raise their families. Make Mars our second home. We're in good company. NASA plans to send astronauts to Mars in the 2030s. China is preparing to. So is the European Space Agency. India reached Mars on its first attempt, a historic low-budget mission. But no one has pushed harder than Elon Musk and SpaceX. Their goal, not just a Mars mission, but a Mars civilization. And this isn't just about ambition, it's strategy. Whoever builds the first city on Mars leads the future of space. Okay, so we know why we want to go to Mars. How are we going to pull it off? As of 2023, 6 spacecraft are orbiting Mars, several more are on the way. Some will explore. Others will test technologies needed for human survival. Solar panels, radiation shielding, closed-loop life support systems, the list goes on. Meanwhile, more rovers roam the surface. One named Perseverance is searching for signs of ancient life. Another, nicknamed the Moxie, is testing ways to convert carbon dioxide into breathable air. On Earth, engineers and scientists are working on new ways to launch bigger rockets and spacecraft, travel faster, and land more safely on other worlds. All of it is practice for when we finally make the leap. To build a base on Mars, you need to first get there. And thanks to NASA's SpaceX and other organizations, that part's becoming easier every year. To build a base on Mars, you need to stay there. And thanks to ongoing research, that part's becoming safer every year. To build a base on Mars, you need to thrive there. And thanks to the private sector, that part's becoming more possible every year. In 2021, a group of international students at the University of Sydney created a 3D printed habitat that could survive a simulated Martian dust storm. In 2022, NASA announced plans to build a prototype inflatable habitat for future missions. Also in 2022, the United Nations held an architectural competition for Mars. More than 100 entries imagined how people could live and work on the red planet. From underground caves to giant space stations, the designs pushed the boundaries of imagination and technology. Then there's the argument for why we should go to Mars, the one that really gets people excited. Other life. Someday we might find the answer to the biggest question in the universe. Are we alone? Searching for life beyond Earth is one of the driving forces behind our exploration of Mars. The discovery of any life, past or present, would be a monumental event. Imagine finding a fossil on Mars. It would change history. The more we learn about Mars, the more it looks like a candidate for life. Sure, it's frozen and dry now, but scientists think it was once a bustling place. Maybe it still is. Let's imagine for a moment that we're not the first. What if there are Martians living on Mars, observing us from afar? What if they've been watching us for centuries? What if we find them? The race is on. NASA and SpaceX have announced plans to reach Mars in the next decade. Private companies like Blue Origin, Rocket Lab, and Relativity Space are developing faster, cheaper ways to reach orbit. Governments and universities are funding research into propulsion systems like nuclear thermal rockets and solar sails, which could reduce travel time even further. In the meantime, more robots are headed to Mars to help us prepare. Sample return missions will bring Martian rock and soil back to Earth for scientists to study. New landers and rovers will search for signs of life in new places. One mission called Dragonfly will even touch down in a giant alien jungle. Well, maybe not a jungle exactly, but definitely somewhere cool. Mars is calling. It's a whisper at first, but it's getting louder. Soon enough it will be a roar. And then, well, then it's up to us. Are we listening, or are we looking the other way? The dream of exploring other worlds has inspired generations of scientists, adventurers, and storytellers. From H.G. Wells to Star Trek, we've always been fascinated by the idea of going where no one has gone before. But it's one thing to dream about exploring space. It's another entirely to actually do it. Today we're closer than ever to making that dream a reality. Thanks to advances in technology, we now have the ability to explore the solar system like never before. With rovers and orbiters, we're mapping the surfaces of other worlds, searching for signs of life, and exploring the possibility of human settlements. But as we venture further and further into the unknown, we must also be prepared for the challenges that lie ahead. Exploring space requires incredible courage, determination, and ingenuity. It also requires a willingness to push the boundaries of what's possible and to face the unknown with a sense of wonder and curiosity. As we look to the future of space exploration, let's remember the pioneers who dared to dream of exploring other worlds. Let's also remember that the journey to Mars or beyond is not just a physical one, but a spiritual one as well. It's a journey that will challenge us, inspire us, and ultimately change us forever. In the end, the decision of whether or not to go to Mars is up to us. But one thing is for sure, the red planet is calling, and the adventure of a lifetime awaits. So are you ready to answer the call? Would you brave the journey to Mars and settle on a new world? Or would you rather stay on Earth where you belong? Let us know your thoughts below. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you next time.